Hello everyone, this is Mrs. Spinagle, and I'm going to show you how you can use Notes to draw for art class. My Notes app is in the upper right hand corner of my iPad screen. Depending on where you have your Notes app arranged, yours will be in a different place, but everyone's iPad should come pre-installed with the Notes app. I'm going to tap Notes and it will open the app. What I have on the left hand side here are my folders, and then it says new note where I've been practicing some things. If I tap on these two arrows going in different directions, it will clear off my screen. So right now I have this open to a new note, a blank sheet of paper, and I have my iPad turned on landscape, not portrait. So if I turned it a different direction, my screen would look differently. Depending on what you're creating may depend on how you turn your screen as well. So if I want to use the Notes app to draw, I'm going to go to the lower right hand corner where I see a check mark, a camera, and a marker inside of a circle. I'm going to tap the marker inside of a circle, and then over here in the lower left hand corner I see a little circle with a marker come up, and mine comes up with a marker because that's what I used last. Yours may have something different. If I tap this, it opens up my toolbox. And these are all the different things that I can use to draw with in Notes. So I'm going to work from the right over to the left here. You see these three little dots? If I tap that, it just says auto minimize. We want to make sure it's left on green. Other than that, you don't have to fool with that again. Okay. Also, I can take my toolbox and move it anywhere on the screen. I can move it up. I can move it over here. I can minimize it. I'm going to leave mine here at the bottom of the screen for the purpose of this tutorial. Now, beside those three little dots, I see 6 colors. This is my color palette. You can have 6 colors out at a time. And in the multicolored circle, if I tap that one, I can add a new color. So maybe I want purple, or maybe I want aqua. You can choose an extra color to put in your palette. Whichever circle has the outline around it is the one you are using at the time. You see how my one marker keeps changing color because that's the one I have selected. Okay. Across to my palette, I see a ruler. I have a cut tool. I have an eraser, and I'm going to show you how to use all of these. And then I have 3 different writing tools. And I am going to start with the one furthest over on the left. And it's selected on green right now. But if I tap it twice, this comes up. And I can change the width of my marker. I can also change the opacity, and that means I can change how dark it is. I can change if it's see-through or not, and the lighter on the scale I go, the less dark my mark will be. If I have it all the way pushed over to the right, I'm going to have a nice thick line. So I'll show you what that looks like when I write with it. Oops. That's what it looks like at that width, and I can maybe change it to the second one. Maybe change the opacity, and then it will look different. Okay, and let's try this one. I'm going to pick a new color. I'm going to pick the red, and I might choose the thickest, darkest line. We'll show you how this one writes. So this one's more, it's lighter. It's almost like watercolor. It reminds me of this marker, because I have it on the opacity that I have it on. If I make it darker and I pick a thinner line, what will it look like? See, it changes. But this one reminds me more of paint, just from the way it flows or looks on the screen. And here's my next one. This one reminds me the most of a crayon or a pastel. I will choose the blue because I think it'll show up the best. And again, I can change the opacity. I'll go with the second one this time, show you how it writes. See, it looks like more like a crayon or a colored pencil. I guess that's why I like it the best. And then again, I can change the opacity. I might even just try the purple this time. I might change it to maybe a little bit smaller width. And that's how it'll look on the screen. And you don't have to just make squiggle lines. Like, you can color in, you can draw shapes. You can pretty much draw on the iPad just like you would with a regular pencil or another drawing utensil of your choice. I'm going to show you what you can do with the eraser. I'm going to tap the eraser twice. It will say Object Eraser or Pixel Eraser. Now right now it's set on Object Eraser, so I'll show you what that does. If it's on Object Eraser, I'm going to come over here. It will erase an entire object that you made without picking up your finger or your stylus if you're writing with that. But it'll erase the complete object all at once. So if I did this without picking up my finger, it's all gone. I did this without picking up my finger, I tap it, it's all gone. Now if I were to go over and put it on Pixel Eraser, watch what happens. It will erase it a little bit at a time. So if I just want to leave this much left of my squiggle, then I can do that if I have it set on Pixel Eraser. But Object Eraser is going to take everything away very quickly. Okay, now the next one over here is it's kind of like the cut and paste tool. So if I were to select that, and I were to draw a dotted line around or close to an object that I've drawn, I can move it around my screen. Now I can only move it in one direction. So if I were to do it again, let me show you here, and finds my object, I can move it over, I can move it up and down, but I can't twist it, okay? So if I wanted to overlay some objects, I could do that. Okay, and to get it to stop squiggling, I can just tap my screen. Oops, we're not going to speak a sentence right now. All right, I want to show you how you can use the ruler. So before I do that, I'm going to take my eraser, have it on Object Eraser, and I'm going to clear my screen off. All right, the ruler, here's my ruler. I can take 2 fingers on my screen. I can twist my ruler in any direction I would like. So if I want to make diagonal lines, if I want to make vertical lines, I can do that with my ruler. I'm going to show you how. So I'm going to get mine set on the screen. And then if I go back and I select something to draw with, I can follow the line of my ruler and I can draw a straight line. And that's what you see me doing right here. And let me draw one more. Oops. If I want to have my lines going in a different direction, I can just take my ruler, twist it, and I can draw my lines going horizontally and vertically, or however you want to have your ruler. And if you want the ruler to go away, you just tap it again. So I just tapped it and now it's gone. Okay, let's talk about on the furthest left of your toolbox, you have these 2 arrows. One's going to the left, one's going to the right. Right now the dark one is going to the left because I can undo what I've created. So this is like another way to erase. If I were to tap this arrow on the left, it will take away the last thing I did, the last mark I made. So I've tapped it twice now and took away 2 of my lines. Now, you can see the one on the right is now dark. That's my redo. So right is redo, left is undo. If I tap the redo button, it'll bring back what I just got rid of. So if I say, oops, I wanted to keep that after all, I can bring it back. If I want to get rid of it, I tap the undo on the left. And that's how I can make changes to my work. When you are finished whatever you're creating, first of all, you don't have to worry about losing your work because it will save whatever you're working on. Okay? But when you're finished with it, you can just tap done in the upper right hand corner and it will save it. If I tap these arrows in the upper left underneath the time, it's going to bring back what I created, and I can access it at another time to add more to it. And then I could bring back my toolbox by clicking the circle in the lower right hand corner, and I could continue working on my design or whatever you are creating. So take some time and enjoy playing around with this app. Get used to drawing on it, but this is a nice alternative when you don't have supplies or you want to create something on your iPad without getting out any materials. I hope you enjoyed this and found it useful in learning how to use notes for drawing and art. I will talk to you soon.